everyone. So today what I did is I went to the ChatGPT and I asked ChatGPT to give me a hard level challenge to solve with pandas. And the challenge which I got over here are this, right? So here for example, ChatGPT has given me to assume that there is a data set which is named as a stock underscore data.csv, which contains all these columns, and it asked me to complete all these problem statements, complete achieve all these things, right? So now you must be thinking why I'm not doing it live when it is from ChatGPT itself. The only problem is when you ask ChatGPT, it will just tell you that assume there is a data set, but for us to solve this we require a data set. So that's where I asked it previously, and I prepare I luckily in this case I found certain sample data already available with me, which was for stock itself, right? So in my data, instead of company, we will get stock written over here. Rest of the things are going to be more or less same. So here are the problem statements which are written over here. So what I have done is I have taken all of this problem statement and I have mentioned it right over here. And over here I have also imported this stock data. Like I said, instead of company you will get stock written over here, and this is the additional column which is available into this, which we can ignore for now. So what I will do is I'll just upload this data frame or data set in Excel, which I have in Excel, and I'll put it over the GitHub, which you can also download. I'll provide the link into the description section. Alright, so without any further delay, let's just start with the problem statement. The first problem statement is, okay, before I proceed with the problem statement, let's have a look on the data. So over here, like you can see, in this data frame, we have 699 records and 8 columns. First one is company name, then the date, for a given date, open stock price, highest stock price, lowest stock price, and the closing stock price is given, and the volume of the shares are also given. I mean the volume is also given over here, right? So let's just go ahead and try to solve the first question. Here it says calculate the average closing price for each company. So this is very simple, right? So what you're gonna do is you just, let's say, stock dot pivot table. Before that, let me just import this once again, and then let me just say pivot table. And because we need to calculate the average price, this is pretty simple, right? I have covered this thing in so many videos, right? So it is just writing a pivot table exactly the same way as we do in Excel, right? So here in index we are going to write the column name by which we need to calculate the average. So column name has to be each company, so which is named as a stock, and then the in values I'm going to use closing, which is closing price, which is close, and then the ag function which I'm going to use is mean, and there we go. So here is what we have. Next problem statement says determine the date on which each company had the highest closing price, right? So let's just have a look on the data once again, and let's see how the data looks like. Okay, this is still fine. So now you see over here what it says is for each of the companies. So in this data you have 3 companies. Okay, if you want to see, so what we can do is we can say group by, and into this I can just say stock. Let's just see. All right, let's say count. You see there are 3 companies, IBM, Intel, and Microsoft. So just to show you, I did this. There isn't much use of this. All right, now let's just see what is the question. The question is determine the date on which each company had the highest closing price. So in this data, each of the companies has prices for multiple days. So what we need to do is we need to pick a company and we need to pick that date on which it has the highest closing price, right? So how can we do it? If you get into technicalities, it might turn out to be too tricky, but if you put little bit of analytical mind on this or logical mind on this, you will be able to solve it very quickly. So let's understand. It is all the purpose is, all that it want is have the highest price, find the highest price, and then tell us the date for each of the company, right? So how can we achieve that? So that we can simply do by sorting the data on closing price in descending order and then remove the duplicate by stock, right? That is it. When you do so, then you would have only 3 entries for each of the stock, for each of the companies, and then the highest date will be available at the top. Now let me show you that very quickly. So first thing I'm going to say sort values by, here is close, and ascending equals to false. So here we got the data. Now what you see over here is for IBM the closing price was highest closing price was 209 rupee 19 paise, right? This was the highest closing price and it happened on 1st of April 1999. All right, now that's what we need to get out of it. So for that what we can do is we can just remove the duplicates, drop duplicates, subset, in subset we can put stock because by subset we need to remove it. So now there you go. In Microsoft you had the highest closing price on 4th Jan 1999, right? Same for Intel, it was, you know, 2nd Jan 1997. So this is how you can do it. But in the output if you want to show just the date, so what you can do is you can just put date over here. You see, here we got the date. All right, so if you find some other way which is more interesting and very very much interesting, you can feel free to put your code into the comment section. I'll definitely give it a view and I'll give you my opinion on that as well. Okay, now moving forward, here it says find the company with the highest average closing price. All right, so it is again very simple. So it's just we need to find the average for each of the company by closing, and you just find which one is the highest. Okay, now let's just say what we're gonna do is first we're gonna find the average price for each of the company. So we're gonna say stock dot pivot table, and into that I am going to say index equals to stock, values equals to close, and then aggregated function I need to use mean. So here's what I got. Let me say reset index. Now I need to find max into this closing balance. Okay, so let me just say close. This is what I get. Now let's try if max works on this. This is what it is. All right, excellent. So I got it right. Find the company with the highest average close. Oh, I need to tell the company name also, right? So you see over here IBM is the company which has highest maximum value, right? So what you can do is if you really need to find that into that format, so let's store this into the df, and over here df I'm just going to say df, and then over here I'm just going to say df max. And for that what I'll do is I'll say df.close.max. Oops, there seemed to be some problem. Let's just see df. Here we got. Now let's say okay dot close dot max. Here's what I got. Let me just say df underscore max. Df underscore max, it's the value. Now what I can do is df, and here I'm going to say close equals to df underscore max. So now here's what I got. You see, so this was pretty simple. If you just have to understand it, it would have been very simple. It was obvious over here itself, but because here we had to produce the output, that's why I had to do all these things. Now this is going to be very interesting. Here it says identify the dates where the trading volume was at least 50% higher than the average trading volume for each company, right? So the problem statement is, let me show the sample value first. Stock.head over here, stock.head. So what it is saying is identify the dates where the trading volume, so normal, you see trading volumes are given for each of the company, right? That should be higher than the average, higher by more than 50% for each of the companies. So what we need to do is first we require to find the average volume for each of the companies, right? So let's just find that. So I'm going to say again pivot, that's the simplest one, stock dot pivot table. Now you must be very much fluent with the pivot if you are following my videos, right? So here I am going to say index equals to stock, and then over here I'm going to say values equals to volume, and then what I'm going to say is aggregated function, it should be used as mean, and at the end I'm going to say reset index. So what it says is it should be at least 50% higher than the average trading volume for each company. So for each company we got the average trading volume, right? Now we need to store this in a sample data frame. Let's call it average volume, right? Now the next problem statement is we need just one second, let me just print it for you. Okay, now the next thing is we need to compare this with the daily trading volume for each of the companies. So for that the best way is let's merge this data together. Stock is the original data and this is the aggregated one. So what will happen is if you merge this data, this is just this is a data frame which has just 3 records. If you merge it with stock data which has 699, so each of these rows will be repeated for each of the record which belongs to IBM, right? Let me show you how it's gonna work, right? So I would just say stock dot merge, all right, stock dot merge, and into that I'm going to say average volume, and then on stock. So luckily the common column is named differently, so I don't need to use left on, right on, etc., right? It is pretty simple. Now this is it. I think inner join will also work, right? Let's just see how the data looks like. So you see this is how column X and column Y. Column X is the daily trading volume, right? And column Y is the average trading volume, right? So let's just put it and say merged, and for merged we're gonna say the top, this type of records, top 5 records. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to compare volume X with volume Y, right? This column X should be greater than 50% of this average value, right? So how can we do that? So the problem statement is let's just find it first. Let's just find the we can directly do that even, right? So let's just do it directly. Okay, how can we do so? Let's say stock, and into that we can say stock, into that we're gonna say volume underscore X. This should be greater than, let me take this to make it simple over here, right? Volume Y and 50% of this plus 50%. It, let's read the question once again. Volume was at least 50% higher than the average trading volume of each for each other. So there could be two statements. It looks little confusing. Either you get 50% of the average and then you find greater than of that, or you find 50% and add that into volume Y, and then you find volume X which is greater than that, right? So I'm going to do the second one. So here comes a stock volume which is as it is, and then I'm going to find its 50%, right? So which will be, I can say this, right? 50% is nothing but 50 by 100, which should be 0.5, right? 0.5. All right, so this is how it should be, and let me put it like this. Okay, now let's just see what is it that we're gonna get. Okay, what we got is error. Wonderful. Volume X key error. Why volume X is the key error? Let's see if I made some spelling mistake. It still says there is some key error. Stock volume X should be greater than stock volume Y plus volume Y. Alright, because here the problem is I'm using a stock data which does not have volume X at all, right? I should be using merged. So everywhere I need to be using merged, not the stock. I'm sorry for this mistake. Now let's just move ahead and try this. Okay, so these are the records which belongs to that population, right? Let's just see how many records that we are getting. 50 records. Now the another scenario could be this, right, where we just need to find this thing. That is it, right? Let me remove some extra brackets over here. Just greater than 50% of that, right? So that in that case we are going to get 688 records. So I just hope that it was clear to you. Let's move to the next one. Next one is calculate the daily price range difference between high and low for each company. It is very simple, right? So here I got the stock data. So you don't need to do much, just find the difference between high and low. That is it. So here I'm going to say range and equals to, here I would say this is high and minus, here I'm going to say low. That is it, and just find the stock. Alright, so here we got the range. Now if you think the question was asking something else, put that into the comment section, put your solution also. I'll definitely have a look. Now moving forward, here it says determine the top 3 dates with highest overall trading volume, right? So top 3 dates overall, not by company, not by any category. Okay, so this can be done very easily, which is just by using n. So let's just go ahead and try this. Here I'm going to say stock dot n largest into inside this what we require is 3 largest values by which highest overall trading volume on volume, right? So let me just put it volume, and here is what you got. So you see these are the 3, determine the top 3 dates. So it is just asking for the dates. So what we can do is we can just subset only date. These are the 3 dates. That's it, you got the answer, right? So this is how we just answered all of the questions which were asked by ChatGPT, and the problem statement was considered to be tough. So I think it was not as tough as it was looking like. I hope you align with this whatever I am saying. Just in case if you get in doubt, put that into the comment section. I'll be more than happy to help you on that. Thanks once again, wish you good luck.